Hello and welcome to our Fairford Flower Collective homemade wreath making video. My name's Fee, I'm a florist based in Kempsford and I'm going to show you how to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is add the moss to the wreath ring. So in your kit you'll have received one of these copper wreath rings. They're really lightweight, so make a perfect base for our Christmas wreath. So to get started, let's take some string and just weave it a couple of times around the top of the ring and tie it in a knot. There we go, so that's ready to get us started. Then we've also provided you with a bag of sphagnum moss. Now this is a special kind of moss that's used a lot for wreath making, and it has really lovely long tendrils which makes it great for moulding and attaching to the base. Now we use moss because it retains moisture and so creates a damp base on which to add your Christmas fresh foliages. So here we go, here's the moss. So the easiest way to do this we find is to roughly divide it in half and then divide it in half again so that you end up with 4 reasonably equal piles of moss. Doesn't need to be exact, but fairly even piles. So what we're going to imagine is that this is a clock face. So every quarter of the ring I'm going to be referring to as working around the clock face. So let's put the first piece of moss on. So I've put it into quite a long shape through the palms of my hands, and I'm putting it over this quarter of the ring. The string's out to the side, which seems to be the easiest way of doing this. And then really you're just sort of crunching it over so that the moss wraps around and covers the back as well as the front of the ring. Then take your twine and just start to add it to the ring. Change hands. So you're pulling firm but not so tight that you're going to snap the twine. Round some more. So I'm doing about 4 goes round and then putting it back down again. Going back in for my next big handful of moss. Picking it up, making sure I've got some moss round the back so that the frame is covered back and front, and then start taking the twine around again. Take your time over this and don't worry about straggly bits. There'll be time at the end when you've got the moss completely covered if you want to whiz around again and tidy up any loose pieces. Right, so as you can see, those 2 handfuls have covered half the wreath base. So onto the 3rd section. And the final one. And you really do want to be using up all the moss that we sent you in the bag to give you that nice firm moist base upon which to add the foliage later. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That moss is all firmly on, but if you feel yours is slightly untidy, then by all means go round again, but don't wrap the twine so tightly and closely together because you'll end up with a base that's so thick and dense that you won't be able to poke your decorations in at the end, which would be a shame. So to finish off, so I'm going to cut the string off a good length, so what's that, about 40 centimetres, and then I'm going to make a loop, take my loop through the centre of the ring and round the other side, then my loose end I'm going to take it through the loop and pull to tighten, and then I'm going to turn my wreath over and take my loose end and just weave him through a few pieces of the twine so I get a nice secure finish. There you go, and then knot. Good. So there we go, our moss base ready, and the only thing left to do on this is to put on the hanging hook for your front door. So take a piece of twine, reasonable length, so there we go, and then cut it in half again. So I've now got two pieces. Then make a loop and tie the loop in a knot so you end up with a secure hook at the top. Then open up the two loose ends and take them to the top of your wreath. Position the knot so it's in the centre. Go underneath, around the back, and knot very securely. Good few granny knots there, I think. Trim the ends and we're good to go.